Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to Cutter Degrassi Unpopular Opinions Honorable Mentions list. Now, I looked at the top 30 CDUOs I did for 2022, and based on their positioning, I did polls. But, of course, three of them actually were taken out of. I took three out because they were kind of popular opinion slash it didn't make sense. So I dumped them off and then added three from numbers 151 to 200. So, of course, when I did that 2022 list, it was the top 150. Now that I got to 200, I decided to say, well, which ones were good? It makes sense and all that. And 18, I added 18 new ones. So there were 11, was it 11? Yeah, I think it was like 11 or 12 from numbers 151 to 200 I added. In addition to the three I swapped out for the top 30. And then what happened was, after going back to my 2022 honorable mentions and adding them in, I got 48 Furies, unpopular opinions slash hot takes. Well, not really hot takes, but like, unpopular opinions. So from there, I did 8 pulls of 6 because Reddit will only allow you to do 6. So I got 8 times 6, so that's 48. So what I decided was the top 3 from each poll plus 6 of the top 8 fourth place votes based on likability get into the top 30. So the top 30 poll is out on Reddit right now. So when this video comes up today, on July 8th, I would suggest you try to find my Cutter Degrassi Unpopular Opinions polls that will close on Monday, I think. Yeah, and then from the top 30, I got to go through from 1 to 5 and whatnot. And do like the top whatevers. So, yeah, so 30 Furies came in. It was actually close. There was one, actually, I said 2 groups were going to have their fourth place not show up, but because one of them had a good fourth place and group H didn't have a good fourth place, I decided to swap that out. So anyway, after that, the 18 unpopular opinions that missed, I looked at, and I found 7 that I was angry were not in the top 30 poll. Of course, when I talked about the top 30, then I'll talk about those and whatnot. So I got 7. So, all right. So you'll see me looking down because I have actually. Hang on. I'll just have my. Should I just have the one or no? Yeah. Hold on 1 sec. Yeah. I'll get my notebook up. All right. So I got my notebook about the ones. There were 7 good unpopular opinions that didn't make the top 30. Now, a few of them actually were close in voting, but because of the top 4, I couldn't do it. Oh, and you'll notice, yeah, I guess let's talk about the elephant in the room. I don't see an elephant in the room. But anyway, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I have extra stuff. I have not 1, not 2, but 3 pennants on the board. I went to Canadian Tire and got some stuff. So I got the Raptors and the Leafs pennant from my Canadian Tire. I'm going to add a Blue Jays one when I get to the Blue Jays game next week. So I'm going to the Jays game next Saturday against Arizona. So I'll be adding a Blue Jays pennant, and then, I'll find an Arkansas pennant and all that. Oh, no, I got to find a Patriots pennant. A Patriots and a Razorbacks pennant and all that. So you'll see those teams in action. So anyway, let's get to the 7. So here are the 7 unpopular opinions that should have made the top 30. All right, so the first one I'm talking about is Rick's death being good for development for characters from CDUO number 130. Of course, I'll have the playlist down below in the description. But anyway, the reason why it didn't make it, I feel, was because it was in a tight group. The 4 that jumped ahead of Rick's thing from CDUO 130 actually were good. Now, of course, they're not in the same poll in the second round. I randomly selected that. So anyway, it lost out to Spitter's Redemption arc, Emma having the most triggered season in season 2. Paige was responsible for Ashley's downfall in season 2, and Darcy headed to Africa. So those 4 made it, and Rick's thing missed out. I'm kind of ticked off. I would have actually wanted the Darcy to Africa one be replaced, but no, can't do that. Rules are rules. And of course, at the end of the video, excuse me, I just burped. And at the end of the video, you'll see the voting results and all that. And of course, you know, as I said, the top 4 in each poll, except for 2 designated ones, number 2 and 7, with only 3, will make 30. But because, well, Group 7 didn't have a good 4th place, which is fine. But Group 2 had, the 4th place in Group 2 was pretty good. So anyway, here we go. Rick Steph, why is it an unpopular opinion? Because in my mind, Rick, by dying, if Rick was alive, Rick would have had a trial, and then Degrassi would have been really in trouble because of the fact that, you know, the school would have been investigated. If Rick was alive, all that, Rick would have told about how the school neglected him, how Spinner and Jay were supposed to be his best friends and all that. Lots of characters would have lost it, and the school would have been doused in flames, if you will. Like, you know, Raj would have definitely been replaced, but Raj probably would have had to face some kind of fine or something like that. Like, those teachers would have been in trouble too because of the lack of trust and all that. And also, you know, the student body for bullying Rick and all that. But yeah, I still say Rick would have gotten really in trouble, but the fact of the matter, like Spinner, Jay, and Alex would have been serving juvie at the very least. And Jay might have been in deep trouble. Spinner would have definitely told on Jay for everything. Alex might have been told on Jay. Emma would have been in trouble because of the Orange Ribbon campaign. If Raj does his testimony and all that, he probably would be in deep trouble. But Emma would have definitely used Paige's click and brought them down a peg or two. So yeah, the character development wasn't there, but it was better that Rick had died because Degrassi saved their butts. Okay, so unpopular opinion number 2 that should have made it was Rick being fooled twice from CDUO 169. Now, it was decent. It was a good one. It actually lost on tiebreak, what I think. But anyway, the 4 in poll 4, group 4 that actually qualified, was Maya failed in season 14 by everyone around her. Rick's parents should have had more stuff to do in the aftermath. Claude's suicide was needed in Degrassi High canon. And also, Paige wanting to be with Olander in season 4, even though it was illegal, was probably because of her trouble with men in season 4. So those 4 qualified for the top 30. So anyway, Rick being double screwed, number 169. I was upset because I'm like, Rick should never have believed Spinner and Jay's bullshit. I know I said it in a few other CDUOs prior to number 169, but this was the newest one. So what I did was, you know, I said that Rick should never have believed Spinner and Jay's BS. Like, it's surprised how Rick, for how critical thinking he is, or he seems to be, he doesn't clue in that possibly Spinner and Jay are playing him along like a fiddle. I said that falsetto, I don't know. Or whatever tone. Soprano? No. But regardless of that, the fact of the matter is that, you know, Rick being fooled twice. I was upset because it's like, you know, Spinner and Jay, yeah, the first time, Spinner and Jay, you know, boosting Rick up to do the tiebreaker so that he doesn't see the paint and feathers coming down on him. Spinner did have his inkling it wouldn't work, but Jay said, not to worry, Alex will do her part. So then, you know, and then after Rick decides to clean himself up in the bathroom, after talking to Paige, and Paige saying that nothing's wrong, like, it was all childish, and Rick putting the gun in the locker, he decides to clean himself up. And then Spinner and Jay go to the bathroom, and Spinner's like, dude, Raditch knows. And Jay says about Jimmy, Spinner's like, what? You're talking about? Then Jay points out the paint and feathers in the sink and in the bathroom in the stall. It's like, Rick's in the stall. Why was Rick in the stall in the first place? It just doesn't make sense. I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, why would Rick be in the stall? Like, Rick should have been outside, and then Spinner and Jay probably would have sweet-talked him. It would have been the same thing, but, you know, the reason why Spinner said Raditch knows is because if you don't watch the deleted scene, then you figure that Jimmy's going to narc on Spinner because Spinner bragged to Jimmy about the paint and feathers prank. But if you saw the deleted scene, you know that Spinner made chicken noises to Rick, and Raditch does something about it. For once. And the fact of the matter is that, you know, I'm surprised how Rick was it. I know his mind is all that, but if Rick had not believed Spinner and Jay, maybe Spinner and Jay would have been shot. People might have been happy. I doubt it, but you never know. Okay, so next, um, number 3 is in Group E. This one failed, but in the number 3 honorable mention is Hollingsworth's pressuring Snake from CDUO 92 because of his kits. So it was pretty good, but it lost a few tie breaks. But anyway, the 4 that qualified in Group E were Adam and JT deserved a better send off. Maya was only with Miles in season 14 because of what happened to Cam. Don't believe the hype being underrated. And also Rick retaliating with the spray cans. In hindsight, I think Rick retaliating with spray cans should have been out of the top 4 and me put Hollingsworth in. But I gotta go by the Reddit folks, so I'm not happy about that. But it doesn't matter. So anyway, Hollingsworth has 3 kids. Frankie, Hunter, and Miles. They all did terrible stuff. Miles in season 14 lit his father's campaign poster on fire and caused a huge problem in Degrassi because the fire was kind of out of control. Miles was supposed to be sent to boarding school, but they didn't. But he didn't end up going there, which was weird. Hunter in season 15 / Next Class season 1 with his anger towards the feminists for ruining the gaming club, saying that Hunter's game ruined everything. And Hunter's like, that's just how it's designed and all of that. And Goldie responds with, "We bowling. Are you crazy?" And so, logically, Hunter is mad at the feminists for ruining his gaming club. And, of course, it was shut down by Simpson. But Hunter's reactions during that interaction may have hurt it. And then Hunter decides to go with a gun to go after Goldie and Maya. Fortunately, though, Miles cut him off the pass, and his mom actually put him in an institution for a couple weeks to make him learn these things. Hunter comes back to the school willy-nilly, and also Frankie with a racist poster in Next Class season 2 / season 16. Frankie being whatever it is, and then her racist poster. The problem was that the poster was bad, but Frankie's lack of apology also made the Degrassi people hate on her. She was kicked off the volleyball team. Everyone wanted Frankie to get some kind of suspension because of the racist poster. Snake didn't do anything, and then Throwback Thursday was just huge how it prompted people to protest. And, Frankie really didn't get punished, Hunter didn't really get punished, and Miles didn't really get punished. I feel that, Hollingsworth must have done something because, as mayor of Toronto, he can kind of control things, and he might have put the pressure on Simpson. I mean, should Miles have gotten in trouble for the fire? Yes. And Hollingsworth was going to send Miles away, but then realized that maybe that's not a good thing for publicity and kept Miles around. Hunter should have been in trouble for what he did with the gun. Now, technically he did, but technically his mom set him up, and Simpson had no clue what happened to Hunter. And of course, I think people were upset that Hunter came back to the school after his psychoanalysis and all that, and people were upset that Simpson would let him back. And of course, Frankie, lack of punishment, except for being kicked out the volleyball team, Simpson didn't do anything about it. Simpson probably was worried about Hollingsworth and his clout. Kind of what Zoe's mom and Anya Mother Bear Torres did. So anyway, yeah. Number 5 on the list in Group F, this one missed, was Paige angering Rick from CDUO 190. I know I did a one, I can't remember the number earlier in this series, and then I doubled down at number 190. But I know this is controversial. I know that people are not going to like this. It didn't make the cut. Like the 4 that made the cut where Holly J was right to be mad about her mom with the kidney winning $20,000. Emma's glow up ruined everything. Emma wanted Sean in season 4 after the shooting, and Emma internalizing everything was the biggest character flaw of Emma. But anyhow, Paige anchoring Rick. Now, it's like, Rick had a right to get mad at Paige because here's why. Rick, this is from season 3. This is a season 3 thing too. Is that Rick was upset that Paige seemed to be putting Terry in her shadow, like not allowing Terry to escape her shadow. And I understand. I mean, I understand with Rick. He was upset that Paige was putting Terry down and not allowing Terry to emerge from Paige's shadow. He tells Terry not to see Paige and Hazel. and all that, but Terry doesn't. And then, of course, that road trip in season 3, when Paige upsets Rick, Rick runs off, Terry runs off after Rick, and Rick says, you shouldn't let Paige pressure you, and all that. And then he gets mad and then pushes her on the rock. And then season 4, he sees Paige using her clout to probably, in his mind, remember, in his mind, say that, oh, Rick's a bad person because he put Terry in the rock. And, Rick should have been defending himself for what happened. Rick was pulled out of school by his parents. Rick probably shed crocodile tears, and then all of a sudden, everything looked bad. Now, the fact of the matter is that Rick was upset with Paige. And then the Orange Ribbon campaign, he figured that Paige was using her clout to push Emma into believing all of the stuff about Rick and, all that. And then Rick figures if he gives Emma $500, Emma will drop the crusade, take the money, and then, use it for domestic violence things, and then probably get out of Paige's shadow. But it wasn't huge. Well, I mean, Emma was in Paige's shadow in a sense, but Emma wanted friends because Manny and Liberty dumped her off because of what Emma did to Chris, and that was justifiable, unfortunately. So the simple fact is that Emma, was upset with things. And a little bit upset that Paige is pushing her buttons and all that. So yeah, Rick was upset, thinking that Paige may have pressured everything on Rick and told lies about him. But of course, everything turned out to be true, and Rick didn't defend himself in such a way. Also from number 6 was Emma's clingy phase that ended up being in group 6. I did, 3-4 episodes of CDUO to do with this stuff. But the last one was 150, Emma's clingy phase, to do with the Rick situation. It was. If you look at Emma's relationships before and after the Rick situation, there's a big change. Especially how Emma gets her boyfriends. She was with Sean in season 1. Sean messed it up by hurting Emma accidentally during a fight with Jimmy. And then, season 3, once Emma and Sean came back, unfortunately, Sean was persuaded by Jay and his candy bandits to go to their side and leave Emma high and dry. Emma felt bad. Emma then goes with Chris in season 3, and Emma at times didn't deserve Chris. And I figure Emma was the one who broke off with Chris in before season 4 because of her thinking maybe if Manny's getting all these all these good guys, why can't I? So I think her jealousy hit a big point. But the simple fact is that, Emma went after Peter in season 5, and a couple of unpopular opinions that made the top 30, we'll talk about it, but I'm just saying that, why would Emma want to be with Peter? I mean, Peter put Manny in a bad situation. But then again, Emma probably was happy about the whole situation with Manny living with her, because now Emma gets to control Manny as a clingy friend. Because remember, Emma didn't really have a friend group or a boyfriend when Rick had the gun pointed at her. Emma did screw up. It was her fault, but still, it changed Emma. It snapped Emma into a bad phase. She wants to be with Peter. She was in love with Peter in season 5, but to start with, was upset that Manny would try to steal Peter from her. Emma was so gung-ho with being with Peter. She wanted protection, I think. But of course, Peter's situation is why would Emma want to date Peter in the first place? Pema was just terrible and all that. And for spoiler alerts, Pema is part of the top 30 unpopular opinions. But, in a way I'm going to say it. But anywho, the fact is that, Emma then goes with Sean in season 6. It was a little bit toxic and was upset when Sean left for the army and left her high and dry. After Sean refuses to talk to her, she tries correspondence. In season 7, she ends up with Damien, of all people, because of the whole season 6 JT situation. But the simple fact is that, Emma was a terrible person in a way. But then, she goes with Damien. That ends because Damien cheats on Emma with Liberty. And then Emma goes with Kelly, becomes very controlling of Kelly, and then he goes back to the Yukon, leaving Emma high and dry. And then she marries Spinner. So that's the terribleness. And the clinging friend phase. Emma clinging on to Manny as a friend. But I think the clinging friend phase was mostly after If You Leave in season 6. I thought about putting the if you leave thing in one of the poll videos, but then I'm like, yeah, it doesn't make sense because I can talk about it more when I talk about Emma and Manny's friend dynamic in one of the things. But regardless, Emma, I think, wanted to stay with Manny and Liberty as friends because she didn't have any friends in the whole Rick situation and she felt lost. I mean, she should have been with Toby. But, Emma being a clean friend to Manny and Liberty, especially in those college years, and I feel like Manny and Liberty couldn't wait to get rid of Emma in season 9. Like, Manny went to Hollywood, Liberty went to pre-law, and they probably felt they needed to get out of Emma's shadow, and Emma couldn't be the controlling freak she was. So, yeah, that was terrible. Group 7, the one I'm going to talk about, the honorable mention, is Pills Elster from CDUO 53. I know you'll be thinking, why are you talking about this, Cutter? Like, Pill was doomed to be gone and all that. But I'll tell you the main story. So Pills Elster did not make the top 3. Emma and Snake being the best parent-child dynamic. Ashley was justified in season 3 telling about Manny's pregnancy, and also Liberty's folks in season 5 in the pregnancy storyline made the cut, but not Pills Elster. Pills Elster didn't really do that well in the poll, but the fact of the matter is that it's an opinion I like. I will not let go of. Now, Pill came in after Simpson ruined himself for the whole Degrassi nude situation, and she put in some new policies. The no backpacks and no cell phones policy, fair enough. Zoe trying to smuggle cell phones in to try to get people to like her because Zoe was doomed to be in trouble for child pornography. And then, of course, Pill put cameras in the hallway. Okay, most schools do that. But then she had them audio voiced. And then when Claire tries out for valedictorian, and then Pill drops the bomb about Claire's miscarriage, Claire's like, I never told you about this. Yeah, but your friends talked about it. And then Claire's like, oh my God, she's spying on us, trying to make sure she does a good job. So Claire says that over the video system. Pill's upset by it. Claire decides to smash up the video cameras, gets a giant suspension because Pill was being a dick and all that and needed control. And Claire was justified for doing that. I think they wanted Claire to go back to the way they wanted it, being Emma 2.0. But the fact of the matter is that, the last policy was the no affection policy, or the NAP, as people call it. It's like, what does affection have to do with Degrassi? It doesn't make sense. Affection causes trouble? So anyway, Drew pines for Becky, which is stupid in the first place, because Becky was Adam's girlfriend. Adam, his brother, well, trans brother, if you will. But the fact of the matter is Drew does a proposal to Becky, gets shot down, but worst of all, he's not allowed to go to prom. Drew sits out the prom like a good boy, if you will, but then after Dallas misbooks the prom boat, Audra prods Drew into fixing the prom. So Drew goes into the school to get decorations and throws the party at the dot. Everyone's happy, but Pill is not, saying that, you and I were the only ones with the passcodes. Did anyone put you up to it? Drew refuses to out Dallas or anybody. Pill says, well, you're going to get your diploma, but you're not crossing the stage, and I have to make an example of you for everyone coming into the school next year. It's like, how many students that are going to head to Degrassi the next year are going to be there? I think she was just trying to please the school board. Obviously, Pill was trying to prove she can be the principal and take away the interim tag. But of course, the We Love You Drew thing from the seniors, and Pill relents and allows Drew to cross the stage. Good boy. But then Pill is gone in season 15. Now remember, there were rumors that Degrassi after season 14 was going to be done for. CTV didn't have the rights to renew it. But then all of a sudden, they did the summer movie, and Tristan says that the new class is going to be bigger and better. And it's like, they're not letting it die. And then season 15 / next class season 1 happens, and Simpson's in charge. And you're thinking, well, Pill must have ruined herself. I think she did. Yes, the school board wanted to make her an interim principal, but Pill, by trying to suck up to the school board, trying to mold Degrassi into like a boot camp, ruined her. And let's not forget that maybe in Pill's mind, she forgot that Drew's mom is Mama Bear Audra Torres. And Audra could use her clout in the PTA to talk to the school board, to get the school board to realize maybe Pill's not a good fit. I think Audra cost Pill's ouster, or was the last straw. It makes sense, doesn't it? And the last unpopular opinion, honorable mention I will talk about is Emma number 193. Emma's plan to get rid of Chris and Liberty was, maybe Emma trying to have a glow up. That did not make the top 4. Paige shunning Emma, possibly Emma being overhated, and Nick may have had a hand in JT's demise, was making the cut. Now, I know the Emma overhated thing, and this was number 145. I said that before Reddit went all nuts about, Emma hating on Emma. A lot of Emma hate posts, like 2 or 3 a day. But the fact is that, I feel that a lot of people hate Emma on the Reddit post, and a lot of people like Emma. So Emma being overhated does count. So yeah, so the whole Emma plan with Chris and Liberty, I touched upon it in season 4. So anyway, Emma was with Chris in season 3, didn't really deserve him because Emma was thinking about destroying Sean for moving on from her, and it almost backfired on Emma. And then all of a sudden, by season 4, it's revealed that they broke up. Emma talks to Chris, and then Manny tells Emma about Liberty wanting to be with Chris, falling in love with Chris because Liberty and Towers broke up. Oof. So Emma wasn't sure what to do, and then Manny says, I know you want to win Chris back, so I'll help you. And Emma's like, I don't think so. I don't really want that. What are you talking about? She goes, if Chris goes out with Liberty, what does that say about me? What are people going to think about me? And of course, that line pisses Manny off. And would piss the Fuhrer off too. Because it's like, wait a tick. Why would you care about what people think of you, Emma? The first 3 seasons you did all these crusades and you didn't really care about what people thought of you. So why are you thinking about that now? Why now? Tell me, do. So anyway, Emma gets busted. Liberty talks to her, and then Emma just says, well, I just missed Chris, I guess. And, Emma should have admitted that she missed Chris because maybe Manny would have helped her. But she lost Manny and Liberty as friends and all that. Emma latched on to Paige's friend group and all that, trying to get friends, but they shun her. And Emma's all in love with the Quiz Bowl team and a loving Rick. Yuck. And then Emma goes into a zombie Emma phase. But the main point about that CDUO was the fact that Emma probably broke off with Chris because of the simple fact that Emma was probably jealous of Manny. It's like Manny has Craig on her. And, Emma wanted Craig in season 2. Like, Emma helped Craig deal with his father problems. And Emma wanted to go to the prom to be with Craig, but Craig wanted Manny, and Emma was brokenhearted. So she should. But the fact of the matter is that she figured if Manny can have someone like Craig, why can't I have a hot boy go towards me? Unfortunately, Emma probably did that over the summer, and no one paid heed to her, so she's like, oh my gosh, what to do? And she probably thought about going back to Chris and begging, but, this was the Emma who didn't like to beg. So, yeah. And, of course, I did some fanfic about me being Emma's squeeze. Of course, you don't really want to know my fanfic, but I'll tell you that, my character gets upset, throws Radish out of the school, literally, pines for Emma, has his gang, hurts the people who seemingly hurt Emma, but Emma still does not want to go out with me, and then the gang decides to try to hurt Snake and Emma. But I paid them off $75,000. Wasn't easy. Yeah, dark. Everyone's got a dark side, I promise you. So that's the list by 7. Yikes. I'm notorious for having my Pepsi bottle in a certain spot and me kicking it over, making a mess. Ugh, yuck. I'll have to clean that up. But the simple fact is, 7 great Degrassi unpopular opinions that I like, but the voters didn't put in the top 30. But anyway, I'll talk about the poll results and, just show you every poll and how they're doing and vote for the top 30. That's all I ask. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Thanks for watching. So as you can see, the poll results from each one from A to H. Some very good matchups. Of course, fourth place in Group B actually wasn't supposed to be in the top 30, but because fourth place in Group H sucked, I decided to do a audible, but that's the only audible. I know the whole I'm a clingy face and all that. I always like to say that stuff, but I decided the Redditors need more clarity. So I'm like, I'll find a way to tell you about the clingy friend face and make you learn about it. But after that, just remember the top 30 polls are up on Degrassi Reddit. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.